Freshwater is defined as having a low salt concentration. Plants and animals in freshwater regions are adjusted to the low salt level and cannot survive anywhere else. Freshwater biomes can be found in ponds, lakes, rivers, streams, and wetlands.
Freshwater zones can be found all over the world, but are mostly concentrated in tropical and temperate regions. In polar areas, the freshwater is stored inside of glaciers.
On average, the atmospheric temperature in the summer is 72 degrees Fahrenheit and 39 degrees Fahrenheit in the winter. A freshwater zone can receive 10 to 80 inches of rain in 1 year.
The freshwater biome includes commonly known fish such as salmon, trout, and bass, amphibians such as frogs, salamanders, and water snakes. Birds and other mammals use freshwater zones for shelter and also as a food source.
One of the most dangerous invasive species in freshwater zones are zebra mussels, which can reproduce rapidly, eat the zone's food supply, and alter the ecology of the water. Asian carp, a newer invasive species, are large and aggressive, and they out-eat the native competition. They can leap long distances, and humans have reported that these fish have inflicted cuts, bruises, and broken bones.
This is an example of a freshwater climatograph. In this region, the temperature stays relatively constant with only slight fluctuations from month to month. The precipitation is highest from August to November. Plant growth is increased during the months of most precipitation, but increased rain can cause flooding, which forces some animals to relocate.
Freshwater zones can be affected by warm fronts, which bring warmer air and possibly a light rain, cold fronts, which can bring cooler, fairer weather, and occluded fronts, which can bring strong winds and heavy precipitation. Also, light and wind combine to affect freshwater temperature.
Humans have had an immense effect on the world's ecosystems since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. Dams reroute the flow of rivers, providing water for crop irrigation and a clean source of energy for cities. Unfortunately, dams reduce the area fish have access to, giving them far fewer options for breeding, which decreases biodiversity and overall fish population. One of the greatest threats humans pose to freshwater ecosystems is the amount of pesticides and pollutants that they introduce into river systems. Increased agriculture and industrial runoff promotes the growth of algae that consumes all of the water's oxygen and suffocates the fish.
In the 1960s and 1970s, state and federal environmental laws gave some protection to freshwater zones. 3 federal agencies involved with regulation, the SCS, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, and the U.S. Army Corps, all wanted to protect vegetation and soil.
A specific geological hazard for this biome is flooding. Flooding can cause a loss of property and life in many regions. Flooding can have long-term effects on soil and can carry unwanted materials into the water.